Hey, I'm Ben Silverio.
I'm Don Shanahan.
And I'm Ansel Birch.
And it's
time to party. We are in Hawaii. Wrong island, but we're there, you know?
Yeah. It's an island movie.
Yeah, I'm gonna sing Ben Crosby's Miliki Liki Maka, like the Christmas song out here. Yeah. No, that was good.
My first thought was Cheeseburger in Paradise. So
yes,
okay.
absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
We might even bust out the tiki room, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Work. Yeah. You're in Disney's land.
I bet we could do a sing-along to the Tiki Room.
Oh, my God.
The lyrics are simple.
It's true. Maybe if we had more tiki drinks, that would be...
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I love a good tiki drink.
I mean, yeah.
Oh, Ansel's the expert here, actually.
I don't know that I'd say that.
Mixologist.
But man, yeah, a Mai Tai would go well with this movie. It's been a while since we did a pairing for a movie.
That's true.
A drink pairing.
This movie would do well with tiki drinks.
Sure would, yeah. And yet they were still just kind of hitting beers. I'm kind of disappointed by the drinks in this movie, if I may say so.
Rum and Coke, random beers, like, come on.
Yeah. We just need to find out where Danny Glover gets his weed, and then we'll feel a lot better. Like, oh, that's authentic. That's Hawaii. There we go. Yeah. That's gonna have a great name, like, you know. This is I got the tiki room stuff right here, man. You know, I know a guy. Yeah, I know a guy. He raises it on the slopes of Mount Loa.
Yo, man, I got that lethal weapon.
There it is. I got that lethal weapon. Yeah, I will say one of many things where I had to get to the end of the movie and confirm that they shot on location before I really felt like, was this actually in Hawaii? Like, what? Because there's only one like Hawaiian person in the film as well.
True.
It's true.
Which feels like a wasted opportunity.
I wonder if that is I'm not trying to get edutainment early here, folks, but like, I wonder what the racial and ethnic demographics are for, you know, mainland Oahu, Honolulu area versus
for sure.
You go to other islands where it may be a little bit more diverse versus we're in haole territory here, if I remember that being the term, correct? So like, we're probably in that. If you're on Oahu and Honolulu with all the tourists in the main city, it maybe is, you know.
Yeah,
I think it's probably is representative of the demographics of the island. I think you're right about that. I just, I don't know. Generally speaking, when people film in Hawaii on any of the islands, there is I think there's like a tax credit or something to like make sure that the local community is represented in a
that'd be nice.
In a way that is like aware of the island's history and colonial heritage.
Because I think we only got the eye candy that Chloe was looking at, her good husband, and maybe the flower shop owner, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about the flower shop owner. She may have been,
because her BFF is
Chloe is played by Lyrica Okano, who is Nico Minoru in The Runaways, which I will get back to later.
Oh, you're totally right.
Yes, but she, I believe, is Japanese.
Okay, that makes when you have that blend of different demographics there, especially on the main island. I have to think. Well, on Oahu, it's not the main island, but yeah, I'm not surprised that you would get that cross section. Yeah. She didn't look like she came from Matt Walsh. That's all I know.
Right. So, that's fair.
Like, he's probably the one name in this movie that's not Louis Pullman. So, yeah.
True. Party people, we already got the party started. Look at that. We're here with the incredible Don Shanahan.
Couldn't stop ourselves.
And we couldn't stop ourselves from just getting right into it. Don has an effect on people.
Oh, gosh. That's me. All right.
Welcome back, Don.
Thank you.
Had so much fun having him around for the first time while we were talking about Somewhere in Time that we had to bring him back. We had to rewind.
I know. Well, and I'm happy to bring you this movie. You know, like I said in the first episode, you know, it's nice to shine a light on a little indie. It matches the theme of your guys' show great, so it's just a natural fit. So it's nice to. I appreciated what you guys just recently did with Back to the Future 2, where like you know, hit the big ones, but at the same time, like, hey, slide a little guy in here. So it'll be a fun month.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
And keep them coming too, because we love the We love having you back, and we love the wreck of a little guy.
Absolutely.
Sure. You betcha.
So if you don't know what movie we're talking about right now, we are talking about the 2022 movie Press Play, and our good friends at Rotten Tomatoes tell us this. Laura and Harrison have the picture-perfect romance built on the foundation of a shared love of music. After a deadly accident, Laura is given the chance to save the love of her life when she discovers that their mixtape can transport her back in time, featuring a movie soundtrack with songs by Japanese Breakfast, Father John Misty, Dayglow, and more. Press Play reminds you that love can always be replayed.
Except she can't play the tape twice
It's true.
in this movie.
Yes.
So shit on that, Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice try, guys. You know,
The intern had not seen the whole film.
No.
Honestly, now that you brought it up, I think we should start there because the rules of this movie take a little while to take effect.
True,
right?
true.
So, like, I did not think they were clear right away. You know, I didn't realize that the tape could not rewind until Danny Glover tried it. And by that point, it was like way too far into the movie that we should have known what was going on already, in my opinion. You know, I just thought that when Laura was like YouTubing those videos on how to rewind a tape, that she just sucked at the pencil thing, which is
right.
You know, like, I get it.
Yeah.
Young people don't know how to treat a cassette tape.
No.
That was a rude awakening when somebody had to Google how to rewind a cassette.
Yeah. That's them all right, though, man. That's a 22-year-old for you, you know.
They should have shown her trying to rewind it more.
They did with the pencil. Oh,
No,
but more.
that.
Okay, I know what you mean.
Yeah, just
in
the Walkman or like on a stereo or something. Like, her and Harrison had all that stuff lying around, so like, why not show her doing it before she got to Danny Glover? It would have cleared up some things, I think.
Okay.
But
it didn't lose me, but it counts as a, like you said, a rule, a dynamic, or how to, like you said, the mechanics in the movie.
Yes.
You know,
yeah,
very true. Yeah. If you miss that, you'll miss a bit of the movie.
Well, and whenever you introduce a new time travel mechanic, that is like, that should be your first priority. Is like, okay, how does this work, and how does it impact the story? And so, I agree with Don. I picked it up sooner than that, but I would have liked to see it immediately. I think when she got back from the first track, her first thought should have been like, oh, I got to go back. I didn't do that right. Boop, boop, boop. It doesn't work. Say it out loud. So like we all get it.
That's exactly what I was looking for, really. I was like, why didn't she just go back to the very beginning again after the first time? And like, it was something that it didn't really like pick up with me until later, that like, oh, okay, each song can only be played once. Another rule of the mechanic here is that, you know, rather than the whole body, essentially only the consciousness goes back, similar to X-Men Days of Future Past. You know, so they do address it. No,
she leaves rooms entirely.
In the very first scene, when Chloe comes into the room, she's gone.
Which is a call ahead to that last scene, because that's like the end. Movie takes place at the end with the beginning, like
it's the flat circle thing.
That's the Christmas party at the end. So, but you're right, she's leaving that room. I mean, she may come back to that room, but she's leaving entirely. I get that too.
But then Harrison is like, no, 1 minute you're here, and then when you come back, you don't know anything that just happened. Like, you
that part, like, she's there but conscious.
She's quantum leaping into her past self. But her body in the present is gone, which is confusing as a choice.
Okay. So that makes it even more confusing for me then. All right. And then the last bit of rules within this world is that when the past changes, the songs on the mixtape can also change. So Laura can lose a chance to go back in time, since the Prime variant didn't listen to that song with Harrison.
Which is cool, but I think she solved it too easily.
Exactly.
I agree.
That's what it is.
Okay.
There were so many things that she could have encountered and like really struggled with, but she didn't.
Which, I mean, they've only got 85 minutes, so fair. I would have liked to see her need to provide Harrison with the list.
Yeah.
Oh.
These are the songs that are on the mixtape. Do not fuck with the mixtape.
Yeah.
Okay. This needs to stay the way it is.
Yeah.
There are too many times where she was able to say to Harrison, like, don't change anything, when she hasn't told him what is about to happen. Like he doesn't know what not to change.
In the same time, I do appreciate the sense of urgency by you only have as long as the song plays. Like you got 2.5 minutes.
That was very
that's a crusher, and I love that because there's some suspense to that. There's if you could sit down and hash out what you're talking about, like, hey, here's the tape, here's all the things, like, here's all the information I need to dump on you. I only got 45 seconds, like, versus what Danny Glover's trying to push her to do all movie with, like, hey, just acclimate to the moment and enjoy the moment, which she doesn't do enough, but until she finally does, when it's only 2.5, 3 minutes, I do appreciate that you oversolve too many things, like it isn't for, like, she can't fix it too quickly despite the things that she is fixing quickly other places.
But it's also funny to me because Laura takes the time to like look up the science of it before she hits play again. But she doesn't think of the other stuff, like
also classic 22-year-old right there.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. It's just like something about Laura, just I don't know. I think the actress, what is her name? Clara Rugard.
Yeah.
Perfectly fine. But some of the choices that she makes as Laura, for instance, and this could probably just be a script thing, Laura did not apologize to alternate Cooper for starting the fire.
Yeah.
She doesn't seem sorry.
Bedding a dude 4 years later.
Exactly.
Like, misses the girl's wedding, isn't that sorry? Like, I get grief can hollow some people and some heart out of somebody, but you're skating on the bitch line a little bit.
I know that this is a romantic drama, but like, Laura shows a little bit more rom-comminess than other characters in the genre, I think. And if she had just like showed some remorse, even when Cooper was like, so are we just going to ignore that you were going through my stuff? She doesn't even address it. Like it's such a hard turn for the character, and it was just really jarring to see because like I understand that she's very focused on like saving Harrison, but like these are the people that she's asking to help her. Like she should at least be a little kinder to them, especially after she burned down his store.
Yeah, when the implication of burning down the store comes up, like, you got to take a step back. Okay, I'm moving too fast and making mistakes, because that is ultimately like she just made that fuck up.
Like, that's right.
Yep. It's
it's not like, oh, I forgot. I mean, to Cooper, she's been blowing it off for 4 years, but to her, it just happened in the tape and her little shift and moment. So it should be fresh in her mind to be apologetic, and because she's quick and apologetic with our guy, with Harrison, but like those moments are like, oh, I'm so sorry, I need to get this and need to get, like, the remorse is there, but hey, have it for your friends and neighbors and buddies that are trying to help you out, the people who are left. You're right.
And in a moment of like, in How I Met Your Mother, when Marshall is getting married and he takes the razor and like shaves his head, and to cover it up they were like, we thought of traditional Native American headdress before we thought of hat.
It's like goofy way of fix.
So why didn't Laura and Harrison think to check the colleges in Hawaii for a medical program?
There's some stuff like that.
There are colleges,
if that's parents' desire stuff, who knows?
Sure, but Don, as a teacher, I'm sure that colleges all over the country offer different things.
Take an easy transfer to Honolulu. It can be done.
Exactly. Sure. It's like the classic case of Topanga Lawrence should have gone to Yale in Boy Meets World. Like,
that's right.
Well, I understand that young love doesn't necessarily make you think of these things, but it's just like small tweaks could have, prevented something even.
We're not quite how it should have ended version of the movie, but you're close. Like, hey, just go to school here, dude. Solve that right now. Or take a gap year. See if you guys are for real, and then do something else. Yes. Well, actually, that's what it is. That him not going to school is what spikes all this off. So
ultimately, that would not have solved their problem.
No, that's true. Good point.
Oh, that's true too. I guess so.
He'd still be there.
Well, that's also true. But it's just like,
while we're on him, what do you think of Harrison in the movie and Louis Pullman and his just performance? Is he worth all this effort in your eyes as a romantic lead?
You know, there was a point in the movie where I was just like, do I buy him as the romantic lead? He's kind of corny.
Yes.
But once we start seeing the past version of him, you know, like during all the time travel bits, I think he redeems himself, you know, with some of the things that he's telling her. And I think the delivery of all that is very good. There's a reason why people are all up his ass right now about doing stuff, because you know he's clearly got talent. You know, we mentioned Lyrica Okano, who plays Chloe, Harrison's stepsister. I think it's interesting that both of them are in the Marvel Cinematic Universe now, because Lyrica plays Nico in Runaways, which was on Hulu. It is also one of the most underrated Marvel TV shows. I don't know why people don't talk about it more, especially because Elizabeth Hurley in the 3rd season is just, oh my god.
They made more than one season of that?
They did. And I liked it, and it, you know, I thought it stuck to, not, you know, 100% stuck to, but I think the way that it adapted the comic book storyline was done very well, even up to the Cloak and Dagger crossover, because Cloak and Dagger was on ABC Family at the time, or Freeform. I'm sorry, but yeah, just I have a soft spot for young Marvel heroes. And I think Runaways is some of the best execution of that. But now Lewis Pullman will be in Thunderbolts Asterix later this year as Bob. And I would talk more about Bob, but I don't want to spoil anything for anybody. So
okay. Ansel, what did you think of Lewis?
You know, I thought that Lewis, similar to what Ben was saying, I thought that Lewis really grew over the course of the movie. Because you start to see more and more how willing he is to be supportive of her as things begin to spiral and then continue to spiral. You know, he's immediately willing to accept what's going on. He's immediately willing to go, okay, well, if this is what needs to happen, I believe in you and I care. And here's, you know, there's very little of that incredulity once the earthquake comes in and justifies the belief. So I think that was really good, and he's definitely a very believable love interest and lead for this movie. I will say, and this is not an acting thing, but I just keep coming back to, if the timeline is movable based upon Laura's actions, then Harrison should have run into more trouble between visits. Harrison stayed on his path largely from visit to visit. You know, he still ended up in the same places. He still ended up doing similar things. She told him to stop surfing and stay away from the beach, which is what he mostly did. And somehow he still ended up in the same spot when she came back for him. Like, that is fucking wild. So I think that I have questions about Harrison as a character and how he got from point A to point B logistically. But performance-wise, yeah, he was fantastic. I thought he really did a great job.
Where he got me was I mean, he got me along the way where he's just charming. Like early on, the art show scene where he's, like you said, advocating for her and like trying to be a nice guy to some constituents at the show, and just to kind of, you know, brag about her art with her standing there away a little bit. But like, it's a charming scene. But the scene that got me where, like, man, you seal the deal. You're a romantic hero for me, is their last scene, their last song, you know, and that huge goodbye where she finally says, where she realizes Coop's advice was right the whole time. Like, man, I should have just enjoyed this. And he gives her the goodbye of goodbyes, man. Or like romantic good stuff, like last scene of a movie kind of stuff. And we know there's, you know, if we got the DVD, we know there's 10 minutes left. But at the same time, like, if that's his swan song, if that's his bow out, like, man, it's a great little scene. The light changes, the great embrace, the great kiss, just a nice, and Lewis just zeroed in on her in that moment, just like nothing else is in the room but her, and that's really cool scene from him. So
he had to know that was his. He had to know that was his, like, monologue to make the movie.
I think so.
And yeah, it shows. Like,
yeah.
I agree completely. Yep.
Did you think that the movie would not have the happy ending? That it would have ended
Yeah.
when she was walking away from the record store?
Mm-hmm.
I think there was a chance. Like, you could easily, like, how does Cooper do it? Like, don't put that tape on the wall again, right?
Yeah.
Like, and she just walks out of that record store clutching that tape and moving on with her life. Like, that's a heck of a way to end the movie too, without the next scene, of course, which is a wonderful payoff all its own. But like, you could have gone with the, yeah, I'm just gonna live my life and get good advice and start listening to it. Like that, the movie could have easily ended there, and I wouldn't have degraded it at all.
And even if it went a little further to where she does the B-side thing and she goes all the way back to the first song that they ever heard together, when Chloe was setting them up, when she just looks in and then walks away, like before the Christmas bits, I think that would have been a strong ending also. Like, you know,
I agree.
still would have gotten that message, you know, really would have gotten that heartfelt bit about Cooper's wife, which I want to come back to. But I think it might have been a stronger movie for me if it had the not happy ending, right? Because it would have done something different with the genre.
True.
Because, you know, I still have all these other criticisms about it, but at least if it had ended in that way, it would have been like, oh, well, they really took a chance there with that. Do you think that would have been satisfying, Ansel?
That's a good question.
So my concern is going, you mentioned the message and like what is the thesis of this movie? Is it you should go live your frickin' life and don't, you know, keep going back to the same cycle and fixating on which, you know, we knew we were going to have to, brings me to talking about the greatest hits, which is you know, basically the same movie done 2 years later.
I know. Oh boy.
But I think in greatest hits the message was much more clear. It was much more, you know, yeah, you should live your life. You should give up on this thing that is holding you back. You should let him go and be your own person. And in Greatest Hits, she does that. She does the same sacrifice. She gives up the whole memory and all of the experiences, and she returns and manages to still end up with the new guy. Whereas in this one, she circles back around to the same dude.
Yeah. Or same dude re-enters life, which I assume is like 3 years of schooling later, because it's not like you would think it if he survived, but they didn't meet the way they had their first meeting.
He went off to school.
Like they that he took that summer, went off to school, and this is him back for Christmas 3 years later, where like,
which is the
because if not, they would have seen
frame.
each other, or friend would have tried to hook him up next week, you know, that kind of thing. Yeah. So I it's an effective use of the time, and it is that have your cake and eat it too, where she does make the big play of I'm going to give up on him and not go in that store. So I admire that they still went there and save his life. But and then it's like the have your cake and eat it too is like, hey, we're gonna cross them one more time years down the road and see if it can still work. And it's not, and that also, I mean, they meet really cutely and they have their probably the cheesiest lines in the movie of, oh, we could be soulmates, you know, like it's a soft ending at the same time, but like it's not the completest foregone conclusion of like loving embrace. I'm like, oh my god, it's you, you know, like it's never none of those movie endings where we're in the rain on a train platform or something. But
I've been waiting for you.
Oh, I know. Or like we're not meeting, you know, like in the movie I brought to you guys. Like, it's not we're not meeting Jane Seymour in heaven, you know, like with clouds and smoke and shit, you know. So it's not there, but we're.
I did think there was going to be an artifact left over. I really thought that we were going to get like a painting or a photo or something. Like there were all of those Polaroids and all of the paintings in the underpass.
Or like one of the paintings was the mural. You know, and it was just like, oh, it was inspired by something I saw in a dream or something, you know?
Yeah.
I really thought that was going to happen. And but I guess kudos for not doing that.
Yeah.
So do you think overall that makes it, well, I mean, I think I do know the answer to this, but like, so does that make Press Play weaker than the Greatest Hits overall?
Boy. See, I'm biased because I saw this one first.
Sure.
Where Greatest Hits is, well, I got to grade it on 2 scales. Like from a time travel standpoint, Greatest Hits is way more batshit crazy. Like any song, head injury, you know, you have to live through your little world with your headphones on, and like it's more a more intimidating and fearful environment that the character is in, and it's a little more wacky. Whereas this is really romantic. I think this is the more romantic of the two movies, personally. I know we love our guy Justin Lim. Is it Lim? Right? Yeah, like our guy from Greatest Hits.
Yeah.
We, you know, it's nice that there's another possibility and love interest in play versus I need to get back to Baby Superman. Yeah, and so I like that Greatest Hits is probably a thicker narrative, so to speak. But I do like the straight simplicity and just simple romance of this one. Just a shade more. But appreciate both equally, for sure.
I agree on most points. I feel like this is a more romantic film. It's a much tighter film because it is, you know, we're following one playlist from beginning to end. We only got 6 songs or something like that.
Yeah.
So you could see the progress that she was making through the second and third acts. It's very tight in that regard. Being that we are a time travel podcast and I have built the instincts that I have, I will say the Greatest Hits is a better time travel movie.
Agreed.
It's got a more dynamic time travel mechanism. The metaphor is more clear with the record player and the whole situation. And it's more consistent in its time travel rules and the effects that time travel has on the characters. But yeah, this is definitely the more romantic of the films. And when you're going hard on romance and less on the like sci-fi aspect of it, you're allowed to fuck up the time travel a little.
Yeah,
that's
a little
okay. What was the one we watched with Kaylee Cuoco?
And Pete Davidson?
Yeah.
A Meet Cute.
That's
Meet Cute.
Oh,
I will
okay.
forgive
I
a
haven't
lot
seen
of the
that.
mistakes they made in that movie for the same reason.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, I think I'm inclined to agree with Ansel there. I was leaning more towards enjoying the Greatest Hits a little more, just because things were more clearly defined, even though they were a little crazier in story. Like, you know, Laura only had to follow that one playlist, whereas the protagonist in the Greatest Hits had to go on a wild goose chase to find the perfect song. And I think that gave it more urgency, that gave it more high stakes.
So true.
It is kind of funny that I did mention that I didn't want to talk about Lewis Pullman's Bob in Thunderbolts. But now that we're talking about Greatest Hits and how you have Baby Superman in there,
we do.
Lewis Pullman's character in Thunderbolts is kind of like Superman. I'm not going to go further into it.
Okay.
There are parallels.
You've seen him in the trailers, so
yeah, but you haven't seen all of them.
Trailers,
Oh no, just a silhouette.
Yeah.
Just enough to go, hey, that guy's kind of like Superman.
Exactly. The whole reason I'm dancing around it is because I inadvertently said too much about that character while talking to a friend. And he was like, I wish I didn't know that going into Thunderbolts. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. That is my fault for not shutting the fuck up.
We'll keep it out of the pod then.
But
I'll bleep it if you say it by accident.
Yeah, you know, when I bring up that's when it gets beeped.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a good casting for that.
But Stephen Yeun would have been like,
would have killed it.
Oh my God, next level. Yeah. Lewis Pullman will do fine.
He'll be fine.
But Stephen Yeun would have knocked it out of the park.
Oh yeah, he's just got a sterner gaze.
Yes,
you know,
100%.
Because Lewis is this guy. Lewis is Bob from Maverick, and he's this cute guy from a record store. He's not, you know. I know what you mean. Yeah,
and
as we believe,
especially after Beef, you know, I think Stephen Yeun really showed that he could do that like duality type of character.
Sure.
You know, and so I'm very disappointed that he won't be in this. But you know, hopefully we can find another role for him in the MCU somewhere down the line.
Yeah.
Switching gears a little bit.
Okay.
Just the power of songs and how they can bring you back to moments and how they mean something to loved ones is like such a powerful thing. And I think if Press Play does anything well, it's that it really integrates how important music is in a relationship, you know, whether it's romantic or not, you know. But it's just I think that's a big reason why I like movies like this, like The Greatest Hits, because I do strongly believe that music is such a powerful force.
Yeah, I'm with you. You know me, when I do my reviews, every movie has a lesson. Lesson number 1 is which songs take you back, because every couple's got one. If they don't have one, they got 7. You know, and then just that age and art of making a mixtape, like you brought up before. Like it's so purposeful to sit down, like Harrison says in the movie, like you got to really sit down and make one. It's not just throwing out, oh, look up this band. No, I curated you a playlist. Like this is the order in which I want to receive this from you. Like that sort of thing, where like there was a different kind of intent than just, oh, I like this song, I'll share it to you real quick, or I'll drop it to you. Like no, I'm sending you a whole damn playlist. Like it just meant more to that you went an hour and a half to make a move, to do a 90-minute thing for somebody. So it is something, man. That is easily the appeal of both these movies. That is automatic plug for me, where like I want to think that this is universal enough that anybody can watch either of these movies, Press Play or The Greatest Hits, and get something out of it, even if it's not your kind of music, but you'd be drawn into, well, what would it be for me? Or what would I do in this situation? Because you have it probably, so I hope, or at least I hope they do. So
do you think that they did a good enough job establishing their relationships with these songs?
Oh, fair question.
Yeah.
Maybe there's patience that needs to be done in this, because it I think, well, the luxury is you get to see it more than once, at least in this movie, like going back to that bowling alley conversation, going back to the earthquake, like the moments, if they seem thin in the first 25 minutes, they do come back and strengthen. So it takes a little patience to get it. The typicalness, I think, that you're wondering about is like, normally there's like one song, it's Casablanca, where it's the one song and I need to hear it every time we're around, like versus a playlist of songs. So I guess I appreciate the variety versus the repeat nature of this has to be the one all the time. Make sense?
I guess for me, the thing that stood out is that, the music is diegetic, right? They're listening to it on the radio, they're at the concert, whatever's happening, we're hearing the music. We don't acknowledge in the moment that Harrison is going, this is a song. This is a song that goes on the playlist. Or, oh, I love this song. Or, whatever it is that makes it stand out to Harrison, that he puts it on the playlist. Or that they put it on together because they're collaborating after the first, was it 3 that he starts with or whatever, however many are on there when he starts the thing. Yeah, there's not an acknowledgement of like, okay, this is a moment that needs to be memorialized. What was the song that we were listening to? Or right now, this song, this is a perfect moment. I'm storing this, or I'm acknowledging this moment. And I think you're right. Coming back to it in the second round does a lot of that work for us. We see that happening, especially with the flaming lips. Way to be on the money. Like that. They had to have started from that and worked backwards. That's all I can figure. Right. But yeah, the other ones, I don't know that there was enough. I don't know if there was enough weight given in the moment to.
I mean, other than what I guess it would be the first one, like that concert with Japanese Breakfast is like, you could tell that's the moment, and to get the band in the movie, like to, it's one thing to be sitting in the car and get a nice signal from Japanese Breakfast, but to obviously shoot at a concert that they're at, that's pretty fucking cool. So good job on them. Like if you're going to pick one, at least to lead with, they sure did pick a winner. So
yeah. And it did establish the concept, right? Like they had that very significant moment. It was in the place at the concert. Like that one felt so crisp and pristine.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why I have a nit to pick with it, is that the rest of them did not carry on that consistency.
Was that your teased nitpick from episode 1 here that you're...
Oh no, my teased nitpick is Cooper remembers what happened after they changed it.
Yes.
Good point. That's a huge nitpick. Like what he can't be in on it that way. Good point. Ooh,
yeah, he only lives in that house and has that conversation because she burns down his record store, and then she fixes it and she goes to the record store and he's like, yeah, I remember that conversation we had.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
except
almost,
for part of it where he repeats himself.
I think
that's fair.
I think Press Play is trying to skip steps, in that regard, because it's just like, these are where we need to be, and it's like, the crowd will get it, but it's like, no, some of these things are like integral details, like we probably should spend more time with those songs that are more significant, showing the moment of like, nope, this is a mixtape song. There are moments where it's just like the rules of the time travel mechanism should be spelled out a little bit more, and it's
what it is? It's a math test.
Yeah.
They got the right answer, but they didn't show us their work.
Yeah, that's exactly what
Fair
it
enough.
is.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes it,
and appreciate that.
That's what makes it a little weaker to me than the greatest hits. But I still enjoyed it,
Oh,
I'm glad.
You had a great time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess that leads into the question, is press play worth your time? And I think it is.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, it's
absolutely.
As a buried treasure. Well, at this point now, it's a Netflix and chill couch movie for couples that are going across Hulu. And
sure,
yeah, you can do worse than a Friday night for 85 minutes over a couple of drinks or a couple of joints in this one. So yeah, this would be an easy one to turn on a date night, home date night. Totally.
And for the run time, like, you can't beat it.
Yeah. No, you can't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Greatest Hits is 131 minutes. I think it's over
95 minutes.
Oh, okay.
95.
Well, both are tight as a drum. Hey, that'll work. Okay. No argument there with either one then. Because both are exactly what we're talking about here. A Friday night, Saturday night date movie. Yeah.
I guess it just depends on how sad you want to get.
That's true too. Oh man.
If you're ready to be
like
super sad, then the Greatest Hits is probably the one to go for. But
yeah.
And do you want to see Superman or die?
Good point. Yeah.
After Thunderbolts comes out, we'll get the answer.
That's true.
Oh man. That, I think, does it for our review of Press Play. If you want to check it out, it's on Hulu. You can find us on the internet. I'm at bsilverio20 on Instagram and Blue Sky and Letterboxd and some other stuff.
You can find my work writing and editing on filmobsessive.com. The home website for other film work is on everymoviehasListen.com. On the socials, between Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Blue Sky, you can look me up at Casablanca Dawn. TikTok thrown in there for fun, but yeah.
Oh yeah.
We'll see for how long.
I am at The Indecisionist on all the meta properties, as well as Blue Sky, Reddit, and Yowza. This has been an Indecisionist production. Special thanks to April Moralba for our podcast art, and to Marlon Longett of Marlon and the Shakes for our amazing theme song.
If you're still on a social media app that uses hashtags, you can use the hashtag Time2Party. That's Time2Party in order to join the conversation.
As well as Time2Party, all spelled out, thanks to Warren.
Party people, this is a good one. This has been a good one, but we're not done yet. We're coming back at you with our edutainment next week. Class is in session with Professor Don Shanahan, so please come back as we teach you a little something about some stuff.
Yeah.
Until then, be excellent to each other.
And party on, dudes.